Hello, welcome wherever you are today. Thanks a lot for joining us. Back in February 2016, a small independent recruitment company was launched in Bristol. 10 years later, Macstaff is still going strong. In the UK, less than half of the businesses make it to their 10th birthday. So today's guest, MD Anthony McCormack, should rightly be very proud of that achievement. He joins us today to discuss the secret to his success and the many lessons learned and pitfalls he's had to overcome to get here. And a very good morning to you.
Yeah, morning. Thanks, Martin. It is, 10 years, I guess, quite a milestone. So, and time flies when you're having fun. And there's been some trials and tribulations and wins and learns. So, yeah, looking forward to the chat.
Yeah, I don't think you realise, you don't really realise what success it is until you realise that more than half of businesses in the UK don't reach that milestone. So I guess first question up, how much of a sense of achievement do you actually feel today, in February 2026? 10 years after, I'll just point this out first. This little post went up on Facebook.
Yeah,
very low key and with very little detail, but 10 years later, there's a lot more to it than just a little post on Facebook.
Yeah, and thanks for prompting it in a way, because I've been busy as usual getting on with the day-to-day operations of placing candidates and filling jobs. But to look back, it's an achievement in itself to survive the ups and downs of the market and to keep evolving and adding value. As myself and Macstaff, it's and with the headwinds in the market, there's been a lot of pretty good recruitment companies that have gone under as well. So it's a marathon, not a sprint, as they say. But I'm proud of what's been accomplished. In a way, it feels like nothing much has changed because it's still just me. I'm a owner operator, solopreneur, one man show. So have I achieved anything? But as you look back through the literally hundreds of candidates that I've placed and jobs that I've filled with direct clients and partners, then we've accomplished a lot, really. And the guiding light, or the kind of superordinate goal, is to move people to a brighter future, and I used to say worldwide, although I've been focusing on the UK recently. So that's it's important stuff, and it's a professional services sector as well. So agencies haven't always got a great name, but it is a professional service like lawyers and accountants and things like that, and we should keep our chin up in recruitment, that we're doing a good and important job.
Did you have the day-to-day is just all consuming, isn't it, when you were in a business? But did you have a little moment when you realised you've been going for 10 years and it was just sort of like a little puff out of the chest and
No, not yet, but I might do tonight. I might put the champagne on ice then. I remember it well though. Yeah, starting off and pulling the plug on the big agency job that I had at the time, and backing myself to go it alone. So it was a big decision, kind of imprinted on the mind, really.
Before we go back to that first day and maybe what led up to that first day as Macstaff, what do you attribute your success down to, have been in a business like, in a sector like recruitment for 10 years and still going strong? What's it down to?
Yeah, it's a tough one, and the 10 years in business is, it is, as you say, an accomplishment, but kind of long tenure in recruitment in general is as well. It's the kind of occupation that kind of burns people out, normally in 1, 2, maximum 5 years, and I've been in it 25 plus years now. So first of all, I'll say I'll give the credit to God and God's grace for bringing me this far, basically. So I know people don't talk about the big guy so often, but as Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury words, I'll give him the credit, and then it's a good opportunity as well to say thank you to all the customers that have made it possible this far. In terms of money's obviously the lifeblood of the business, but candidates trusting me with their career as well. It's been really important, special. Thanks to partners as well. That's businesses that I've perhaps kind of shared work and fees with as well. Perhaps I've filled a partner's job or placed their candidate. So that's primarily in team, but also with other personal connections. And then I consider my suppliers my partners as well. So I think shout out to the guy who I call Marketing Martin from XPR Communications, like formerly 90 Degrees Marketing. We've put a few years together in now.
We certainly have.
And also, like on the daily, for me, Firefish Software, which has been my kind of go-to CRM provider, like with a great product that's always evolving. So they've been superb over the years. Also, newer helper for me, Device, which is like a soft phone, online telephony system with AI note taker. So those are the tools at my disposal, basically. So whilst I'm a solopreneur, I'm not an island, I'm not a lone wolf. I've got a tried and trusted network to be able to deliver the right result to clients and candidates. Sure.
As well as the people you work with in your network around you, what about your own personal values? Do they play a big role in driving the business through? Were you able to come into it thinking, I want to be this person and offer this service? And have you been able to stick to those values with all the external forces acting against them at times?
Yeah, good point. So yeah, I'd had a good think, about what my USPs were and what my strategy was going to be before launching, obviously, and yeah, values are the kind of guiding light for me, really. And on the corporate side, I'd narrowed it down to expertise, integrity, and commitment. And that's, I envisage that as like the tricycle that I'm riding along, and like if you take one of those away, the trike's going to fall over. So yeah, I've tried to hang on to all of them and walk that talk. Like in terms of expertise, for example, and with the REC as a personal member, after pass the compliance exam for them. So it's like genuine kind of up-to-date expertise that is kind of certified on the integrity side, as well as dealing with some really good end clients. I'm a member of team that you can see behind me here, so that's my team member of the year award from the other year. And that says that other businesses are trusting me to act in their best interest, work confidentially, and that I'm a man of my word, sort of thing. So that's the integrity side. And then in terms of commitment, we're 10 years in now, aren't we? You'll see that hey, my tenure with Hayes went like another kind of 10 plus years before that. So I'm a good kind of stable, committed guy, and if you were to look on my LinkedIn profile, it's got over 100 recommendations now as well. So yeah, I try and stay true to those three values. And then complementary but different on the personal side, my values I'd narrowed down as courage, creativity, and compassion. So I was thinking of examples and personal. I like to do my personal development. See the books behind me, but do personal challenges as well. So I don't know if you remember the boxing from back a few years ago. I did the UWCB kind of white collar boxing, and stepped out of my comfort zone to have an 8 weeks free training and a full fight night. So that pushed me out of my comfort zone, and I'm proud of that accomplishment. I like to test myself in some way, and just turning up, running the business day to day takes courage as well, doesn't it? And overcoming problems. So creativity. Haven't got one to hand today, have I? But I got self-published, and I with Job Search Job Done. So that was a little creative project that and I like to come with creative solutions for the business as well. Not too far away. It's available on Amazon. I think like $7.99, isn't it? But yeah, that's a one-stop shop guide to job search success, and that kind of scratch the creative itch, so to speak. And people who read that will get to know a bit more about me as well. And then kind of lastly, compassion. So it's not just all like raw smash targets, toxic masculinity and all that. I do have a heart for people, and I volunteer at the church that I attend, Sound Church in Bath, and for example, in terms of walking the talk, to any I tithe like 10%. Like, just tithe just means giving 10% to the storehouse, so to speak. So anything that I take out of Macstaff, like 10% goes into Sound Church, and they're running their food bank program, or the cupboards that provides like prom dresses and suits for kids. That can't remember the name of the outreach one, but we do kind of garden clear ups and redecorating people's like houses and things like that. So just to look outward rather than looking inward as an organization as well. So values for Macstaff and for me personally.
And a huge doff of the cap to you for being able to set your stall out on those fronts with values like that and be able to actually stick to them, because anyone that runs a business know that they're extremely challenging to stick to the values you want to do versus what you need to do to become successful and keep the wages coming in, isn't it?
Yeah, thanks, mate. And it's tempting to cut corners with commercial and financial pressures, like in the business and like personally as well. We're in a cost of living crisis as we talk, obviously, but I think it was Robin Sharma, who's like a business coach that I kind of buy a lot of stuff from. I think he was quoting Warren Buffett to say, we can afford to lose money, but you can't afford to lose reputation. So if I'm considering whether to do or not do something, then a good kind of acid test is, would you want to see it on the front page of the newspaper tomorrow? And if you're not comfortable with that and your family seeing that, then just don't do it.
I like it. I was going to ask you about what you remember of your first day at work, but maybe you could take us a little bit further back than that and just explain to people watching how you got to that first day at work, a bit of a potted history of your own history within the recruitment sector first.
Yeah, sure thing, because it would be ill-advised to launch a recruitment business with no, prior recruitment background, I guess. And I have got. It was nearly 20 years under my belt before Macstaff, actually. I guess primarily with Hayes, the kind of well-known kind of global specialist recruitment company. So I'd worked in. Graduated a business degree from Nottingham University, went into my local recruitment agency, which was Round Peg Recruitment, and then got taken over by Securicor and Randstad. But they hired me in their office rather than sending me out to a client, which was great because I was open to suggestions. Few years later, I learned about specialist recruitment, so transferred into an FM recruitment company, and then marketed myself into Hayes with the leader in that sector. So a few years in Birmingham, I took the opportunity to transfer out to Toronto in Canada as a transfer. So I've been a consultant manager and director then with Hayes, and for personal family type reasons, we made the decision to come back to the UK in 2013, I think. We moved to Bristol just for a fresh start to where I'd been before in the Midlands, which is where my kind of mum and my sister still are, and I did a year with Hayes in Bristol, and then we'll probably come on to it, but had some discussions and decided to set out on my own. Like it become a little bit claustrophobic as the little cog in the big machine, and I was keen to do something different. That was more of a legacy play, if you like, or something with personal purpose to it.
Okay, so with all that, what do you remember from your first day, if anything, and what were those first 12 months like as a person that's all on your shoulders all of a sudden?
Well, in terms of how I was able to do it, I should credit my late great father-in-law as well. First, Andy Torrens, because he'd been talking to me about my, career and future plans and things like that. And he's a serial entrepreneur and a management consultant, and he offered to back me, which was pivotal. Actually, it was key moment to payroll the first year. So he was talking about, I think I can put 50 grand to one side, take that across the year, give it your best shot, see if it works out, and kind of that de-risked it for me. So it's not as brave as it perhaps appears to take the plunge. So I was really grateful for that. And then
would you have done it if that wasn't there? Would you have made the step yourself?
Not at that time, just because didn't have the luxury with the personal expenses of moving back to the UK and things like that. So as a lot of people are in their job, I was kind of stuck. But he offered me that kind of what he described as a rope over the wall, you can escape from the prison of your corporate 9 to 5. And I was like, yes, I'm going for that, and took the ball and ran with it, and managed to get some jobs in and invoices paid within the first 3 or 4 months, and I think I only took 20 grand in the end. I paid it back in the first year, and thank God Macstaff's been self-sufficient since.
Fair play. That's a great story. That's a really, really good story. Yeah. I mean, you the success from that first day in the first 12 months are quite obvious after 10 years, but you are one of the strongest people I know for building relationships with people. And just tell us how important that is within the recruitment industry specifically, to make sure that things get done, deals are made, and the business becomes a success.
Yeah, sure thing. I'll try and do that and answer the question that I ignored the last time, which is what was the first day like, wasn't it? Because that's a little bit of a funny one as well, in that Macstaff started in my laundry room. Yeah. I got a separate business line put in, so it was all very professional. And but half the time the spin cycle was causing too much clattering in the background. I'd kind of hung some kind of a white sheet behind me to kind of hide some of the garage overflow. So proud that at least I've managed to get my own kind of space now, which is when a unit came up at Fair Seat Workshops, which is a 2-minute walking commute up the road. So that's been really handy as well.
Washing machine's just out of shot, isn't it? At the minute, it's just around the corner there.
What's that? Washing machine, yeah.
Just down there. You've hidden it.
Noise down for the family. Mind you, it's become accepted. COVID happened in the interim, hasn't it? So it used to be that it'd be frowned upon to be at home and with the kids and the dog and things like that. But it's all part of the hybrid working scenario now, isn't it?
It goes now, doesn't it? Yeah.
But onto relationships, and I think that's been a USP in that I think I'm a man of integrity. That's the middle value, isn't it? And authentic, and what you see is what you get. So I don't tend to burn relationships, burn bridges. So I think that is a little bit different from somebody who comes in hot. High sales, high pressure, might make a big splash, but can't maintain it for the long term. Just withdrawing from my cliche bank as normal, it's like if you want to go if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with a team or go with your tribe. I've been fortunate to gradually build up through time served, if you like, in relationships, to have a trusted network, and teams certainly been important for that. But likewise, clients, candidates, informal networks, the Chamber of Commerce. I can. It's people who give you the knowledge and the tools and things like that, but people who you can pick up the phone to for advice and support as well. Because as Andy Dunn, the MD of Team, said, it is kind of presentation at Rec Expo. It's like your network is your net worth, but your kind of network's also going to become your safety net at some point as well. And you can't build that quickly in a crisis. You need to have the relationship points in the bank, don't you, in order to be able to then turn to somebody when you've got your back against the wall, or you need some advice or support. So yeah, I'd recommend everybody do that.
I don't think you realise the true value of those connections until you are in a position where you think, oh, I could really do with some advice or some help or support on something, and they're there for you. And that takes the time and the energy to build up those connections and that support network around you, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So it takes the effort to, can proactively and consistently build those relationships and make an effort to be in, the right the right groups and the right rooms and things like that. But it'll pay dividends in future. And it's again an old adage, isn't it? But you're the kind of the sum of the people that you spend time with. Like if you're with 5 millionaires, you'll hopefully become the sixth. If you with 5 losers, you'll become the sixth also. So and if you're the smartest guy in the room, like you're probably in the wrong room as well. Like you always seek, and it's one of my key learns, I think, to be every day's a school day. Personal development's important, and you kind of it's okay like striving to make money, but you want to strive to add value first, and you can do that by kind of adding kind of knowledge and expertise and things like that. So it starts with yourself, really.
Am I right in thinking that your membership and connections made within the team network now are among some of the most important to the business?
So definitely one of the kind of sliding doors moments, just regaling the story of joining team. I was going to the Recruitment Expo in Birmingham just to find out like more about running my recruitment business, really, like early doors. And I bumped into Dal Shoker, who runs Near People, that I used to work with at Hayes before I went out to Canada. And in that kind of 10 years, he'd kind of changed from being like the little kind of trainee at Hayes to being like some kind of business tycoon running a recruitment agency, I think with like 20 people, I think he said at the time. So I was like, wow, that's really impressive. Like there's so much that I need to ask and learn. And he said, I know what you need, like rather than just being able to probably spend time answering me himself. He was busy moving on, but like pretty much marched me to the team stand where I met the ladies who explained about what they used to call the employment agents movement, and it's the largest independent network of recruitment business owners in the UK. And you can get discounts on suppliers, and you can get kind of training and development and template documents and all the rest of it. But what I really kind of like the concept of and latched it on to is that they do team exchange. So the business owners work together to share business. So whilst I've been the one to share jobs and have other people fill my jobs, like for all my clients, I've kind of specialized and had a massive amount of success kind of playing to my strengths in terms of candidate generation and relationships and pipeline, in being the sourcing guy. So I've done over 100 split fee deals, like fast forward to today, whereby I've sourced and screened and provided candidates to team members jobs, and that's gone from being the icing on the cake to a fair amount of the cake, really, in terms of Macstaff's revenue. So whilst it's moving away from the pain of business development, which I think I've kind of, especially cold calls and things like that, I've fallen out of love with, having kind of been forced to do it for much of my career, but it also plays to my strengths as somebody who's decent, like notwithstanding yourself actually, but a decent copywriter, and somebody who can write good ads and profiles and generate the right candidates to get jobs filled.
Okay. I was looking before we came on today at some of the things that have happened during the 10 years of Macstaff's existence. We've gone through Brexit, COVID, hiring booms, massive slowdowns, very high inflation, and strong wage pressures. So I guess one of the things you need to do to get through all that is to be very agile, think on your feet, and not get too bogged down when things don't go wrong. Tell us how it's been sort of riding that wave of economic uncertainty and the fluctuations you've seen.
And I thought, you would probably ask, have I learnt to kind of ride those waves? And yes and no. I guess I've been through as a recruiter right back to the kind of recession after 9/11, global financial crisis. Now, as you say, COVID, and there is ups and downs, and I know to persevere and control the controllables. Don't get too high on the highs, don't get too low on the lows. And just keep showing up, sort of thing. But it's like all the kind of regular parameters and the models are kind of not working now, are they? It's like there's just unexpected events, like politics or weather or the economy. It's just like things are totally outside of the normal expectations, and you can get caught, and it is difficult. So financially, the jobs, according to the REC data, the number of jobs in the market has been going down like for something like 36 months straight. So there's been headwinds. It's been a tough market, and high interest rates and inflation certainly doesn't help that. Business uncertainty kind of doesn't help that. But suddenly kind of revenues can halve and costs can double. Like that leaves you in a tough spot. So it's been definitely tricky. But be agile in terms of cutting what costs you can. Be creative, but kind of diligent in business development, and you just do what you can to batten down the hatches and survive through. Sometimes really you just got to be ready to get up off the stool, like for the next round. Never quit.
Saying to me when there's talk of a recession around, it's like, don't panic, but just start preparing for when we start going upwards again, and always look at a positive spin on whatever situation it is. So you've clearly learned to roll some of those punches. Is there ever a moment where you become a little bit, I wouldn't say blasé about it, but like, I've been through COVID and Brexit and everything. Whatever you've got, give it, chuck it at me and we'll be okay.
It's like careful what you wish for, isn't it? So no, I never. I try and never say that. Oh, it couldn't get any worse, could it? That's like famous last words. But so you learn to appreciate more the when times are good, I guess, and I think we discussed beforehand, didn't we? It's companies overall, like including myself and Macstaff, are just ready to go, as soon as there is growth. We need to catch that wave, and I've made tweaks to improve like quality of service and flexible offerings and things like that in terms of kind of fees and payments and things like that to adapt. There's always going to be a need for kind of good recruitment, and I do things like this with you, obviously, to showcase myself and expertise and values and things like that, to differentiate in what is a very competitive market. But there's the good and the bad and the ugly out there. So I always encourage people to do their due diligence before engaging a recruiter, because the upside of using a good one is significant.
And because of those vast fluctuations in socio-economic conditions that you're dealing with, has it stopped you planning long term? Do you just deal with short-term plans now, or were you never someone that looked too far ahead?
To be perfectly honest, I'm not a massive detail-oriented kind of long-term planning type guy, actually. And whilst it is important to have a plan, and I do probably do that up to an annual basis. I don't think the crystal ball is that accurate anyway, really. So it's important to to adapt as well. So I look at what I need to achieve, like say in a year, financially, how much revenue the company needs to make, and reverse engineer it from there. So any good recruiter would kind of know their metrics like that. So if I'm want to achieve a certain goal, like say 500 grand for like ease of numbers, then I know that I need to fill a certain amount of jobs, and it's probably about 100 actually if I carrying on that same example. Then therefore how many jobs would I need to get in, which is like if you fill in 1 in 4, it's probably 400 jobs. And back from there, then how many calls do you need to make, or how much outreach is required in order to win those like 400 jobs, and work out your activities from there. But literally there's a whiteboard next to me. It says how many jobs, how many interviews, which is where the rubber hits the road in a perm recruitment process, how many deals, and how much money. And that's how I keep an eye on how I'm doing, and that's my early warning system if things are slowing down.
Okay, interesting. Looking back over the 10 years, are there any key moments that stand out for you during that spell?
There was the joining team one, which was fortuitous. Subsequently went on to be offered the solopreneurs sector director role. So I look after the solos group that's growing and blossoming nicely in team. So out of the 500 plus members, 150 plus are solos like myself. So we network at least every couple of weeks with drop-in sessions that where we can get that kind of peer-to-peer support, and have a sounding board, like a bit of banter and things like that, because it can be lonely as the sole recruitment business owner. So that's an honor to do that role. Just thinking back in terms of like memorable placements and clients and things like that. I think the most jobs that I filled with any one partner into one client was over 35 positions with a company that was in a niche area of warehouse fit out, just trying to keep it vague enough. And it was like the perfect storm with COVID, actually, of e-commerce taking over, the requirement to stock more because of global supply challenges. And the way that the economy was going in general, and I was offered to fill a design engineer position. I did. So it's like, oh, can you help with this? What did they call them? Order processing roles. And whilst it wasn't necessarily my normal bag, a little junior. We filled a couple of those. Like finance roles, and project managers, installation site managers, and that was quite a roller coaster for over a year of filling lots and lots of jobs at that company. So that was a great one. There's scenarios within team where like a member's done like a mini RPO, like a recruitment process outsourcing type scenario, whereas I was able to step in as one of the second tier suppliers to him to fill jobs with an aerospace company. So that was a really interesting one, like systems engineers, mechanical design engineers, electronics engineers, things like that. Because I, as you know, kind of straddle construction and manufacturing type technical roles. So that was one that kind of sprung to mind, and then it's always nice to get involved in things like that. I've got a personal connection as well. So I actually managed to introduce like a friend from church to like via a team partner in Swindon for a weapons engineer position, because she was coming out the Navy. So that was a cool one with a personal story to it as well. So whilst we don't do like all the way from arborists to zoologists, I did go as far as weapons engineer. I think when I put my placements in alphabetical order, that's the last one on the list still.
Just away from the office for a minute, you're a strong family man. How does running a business like Macstaff affect your relationships at home and attempts to play sport, go to church, the gym? I know gym's a strong part of your life as well. Are you able to do both at the same time, or does the business take over at times?
And that's a good question. I've learned to like put guardrails around that a little bit as well, because especially with the nerves of like in that first year of, is it going to work out, and the need to or the thought to always be doing more, and to kind of make sure that you're kind of always doing enough for like financial security or whatever. That's tempting that the work is all consuming, but that's not sustainable as well. So I'd learned, and partly reading my Robin Sharma stuff, that wealth isn't all about money, whilst it's like oxygen, it's like key to kind of personal and business survival. Like there's other forms of wealth as well, and like you say, family, hobbies, advancing your craft, adventures. There's 8 forms of wealth according to Robin Sharma, if you wanted to kind of read that book. And I've tried to put some balance into it. So if like last year, it's going to be a tough one financially, that's not my biggest win, but our family relationships thriving, I think so. Like I ramped up the CrossFit it is at the moment, isn't it? So for my kind of personal challenge and fitness, and my health and fitness I think has gone forward. So you have to look at the bigger picture, and it's a marathon, not a sprint, so to speak. And being an entrepreneur buys your own freedom, basically, isn't it? To like relate it back to that escaping the prison of my corporate job scenario, then what price of freedom. It's been great to name my own schedule, to attend all those school events with the kids, and to be able to head away, work remotely from the coast, all that stuff. So no regrets for sure.
I suppose sometimes when people say to you, why on earth do you do this, running your own business, about what's going on, that these are some parts of the why about why we do it, because it opens up that freedom to do the things you just mentioned is really important. Certainly for me, as I get older, especially as well, to have that structure in place.
Yeah, definitely. So, I don't like the phrase in a way that people use, like work-life balance, because I'll point out there's only life. Actually, it's just what you choose to do with it. But certainly, there has been a nice kind of balance and sustainability of it. Once I learned to relax a little bit about that kind of feeling that I need to be on 24/7. I still have to be careful not to get sucked into that, actually, with get the device off like at least by 9 p.m. and things like that. And if you're doing hobbies or gym or whatever, at least it puts you in the moment, doesn't it? You can't worry about work and play basketball or something, can you? So
let's start to wrap up things, and I'll ask you to get your crystal ball out now and say what's coming next for the sector and what's coming next for Macstaff.
Okay, so I've been through the kind of the thought process from time to time of Macstaff, and is it a scale up, an exit scenario, and that felt like the most impressive thing to do, like where it's starting out, but as I've reflected, actually I probably don't want to do that, so therefore I'm probably not going to. I've learned to not feel obliged to have that as the ultimate goal. So I'm quite comfortable with the fact that for the time being, it's a lifestyle business, Macstaff, something that I can control, quality of clients and candidate service, and enjoy playing the primary role in doing and delivering. So be tinkering rather than tailoring, I think, on the Macstaff side. The challenge is to integrate good technology but keep the human aspect like forefront, and that the currency is trust these days, in like all the AI and knowledge is everywhere, and there's a lot of noise in the comms and things like that. So to be that trusted partner, to be the person who's like gone through the know, like, and trust kind of ascendance, and to have the credibility to be somebody who can solve their business problems and things like that. So I think being that boutique kind of owner-led recruitment company is a good strategy for the time being. And then for the sector, it's like, man, who knows? Because all of the that's what I've been saying, isn't it? All of the parameters have gone like totally off the charts. Like all financial models like ceased to work, didn't they? In the global financial crisis, with the mortgage, subprime mortgage, like bubble bursting, and like nobody knew what to do. Like, the stock market's like going through the floor. So yeah, it's a bit difficult to predict, but it seems like, just anecdotally and from being in the market and speaking to other recruitment business owners in team for this year, like beginning of 26 as we speak, that it's the pace has changed, the volume's changed. So that graph that I mentioned, like of jobs reducing and reducing, that's kind of bottomed out now. So there's talk and optimism for the upswing in terms of the job market, the employment market, as interest rates come down, businesses get more confident, there's expansion plans, and new projects being undertaken. So I'm quite optimistic that 26 will be better than 25, which isn't saying much.
Every time we've done these things, we've got a Macstaff YouTube channel, folks, and if you're not already a subscriber, please do so. There's loads of videos on there, tips, job hunting tips, etc. But we've had some of Anthony's colleagues and guests in for chats on YouTube about the economy and where the sector may be going. The main learning from all of those over the last 2 years is no one knows.
Yeah, let's be honest here.
25 minutes talking about it, no one knows.
Yeah, but as I said before, it's like, you kind of stay sane by controlling the controllables, don't you? And maybe mitigating your risk and maximizing your opportunities. But you can't, there's no point in worrying about what you ultimately can't control.
Sure. It's almost a great note to finish on, but just finally give those people who are thinking of setting up their own business, or maybe especially those that may be in the recruitment industry in the early days of their business, give them some tips and maybe some quick bullet points and learnings about things to bear in mind from your own experience.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn, isn't there? A lot to say, and you don't know what you don't know. I did kind of feel like I gave myself a bit of a baptism of fire in the beginning of Macstaff, and if I knew what I didn't know, probably I might not have taken the plunge. So I guess one of the most important things is to kind of learn, like from people, from books, from online now as well, isn't it? To educate yourself, because that kind of the knowledge means that you know more, so you can make better decisions. So definitely do your homework. Then in terms of kind of personal advice and guidance, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So it's got to be kind of sustainable. You've got to pace yourself. There's no point in burning yourself out in the first few months.
Which is easy to do, Ant, I guess, especially when you're starting a business. Very, very easy to do.
Yeah, and I had a bit of a buffer, as I described. Thanks, Andy. But it is like a race, like to get fees in fast enough to survive, basically. So that you put a lot of pressure on yourself, but you can't obviously keep that up forever. You need to kind of find that kind of personal rhythm and pace, and to have things inside and outside work to as we discussed, keep your balance and things like that. But it's important to related point, enjoy the journey as well, because that's partly what you're in it for. If it's that kind of lifestyle business and the freedom that you're looking for, don't forget to kind of look around and kind of see that, enjoy it, appreciate it. Outsource would be another kind of key thing, especially if you're not building a kind of a big, very self-contained business. So the things that you're not so good at, you don't enjoy as much, can you outsource those, onshore, offshore? Can you work with kind of suppliers to solve problems rather than trying to do everything yourself, because that's not going to work in recruitment. So that's a point. And we discussed about surrounding yourself with the right people. If you're the fifth, if you're with 5 millionaires, hopefully you'll be the sixth kind of scenario. Keep doing your personal development, because then you'll add value, and it's when you the marketplace rewards mastery, as Robin Sharma says. So if you're kind of honing your craft and you're doing a great job and you're adding value, then you'll attract customers, and that's and raving fans, or whatever people call it these days. And that's the way to do well financially. It's by adding value and by being world class and things like that. So yes, money's important, but it's not the it's not the end goal. The end goal is the the caliber of what you're doing. So keep that in mind as well. There's no shortcuts to success. And that's about all, I think. So, do your homework.
Very valuable tips, and great to hear them from someone that's actually been in the ring for 10 years as well, learning them sometimes the easy way and sometimes the hard way, I guess.
Yeah, that's right, and that's an important thing as well. If you're going to take advice, you want it to be somebody who walks the talk, who's been in that arena, has got some like blood, sweat, and tears done, because these 10 steps to making $1 million online charlatans, it's kind of steer clear.
Folks, thank you very much for joining us. If you've been with us today, I hope you've enjoyed today's discussion with Anton, the 10-year celebrations of Macstaff. If you'd like to find out more about the business, visit the website, which is on the screen at the moment. If you're just beginning a job search yourself and you want the best advice from somebody that's been in the industry for decades, you can buy Ant's book, Job Search, Job Done. We have a social media channel on Facebook which you can follow. There's loads of very helpful videos on our YouTube channel as well, so please check that out and like and subscribe on there to find out a lot more about what's going on in the Macstaff world. And that just leaves me, Martin Croson, to say thanks a lot, Ant, for joining us. It's been great to have you today and great to listen to you once again. Many congratulations for reaching a 10-year milestone, and here's to what's coming in the future.
Thanks so much, Martin. Yeah, and thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for joining us, folks. Whether you've been on LinkedIn or YouTube today, you're very welcome. We'll be back soon here on Macstaff Live. For the time being, thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.